Hello and welcome in the next episode of JavaScript Crash Course 2023. In this episode I will go through objects and arrays, so follow this to know more about it. And I will start with some declaration of an object to show you what it basically is. And let's start with I will start with car. So object is made with the curly brackets, and it's like a big container which stores some properties of this object, item, whatever. And I have car, so car can have some color, some speed, max speed, some places inside for how many person it can gather, etc. So I will go with the color, and color is, for example, it will be string, red, name, also string, Ferrari, so Ferrari is always red, the best part, max speed, maybe 200 of some units. What is more important, you have to pass the comma to not break the code, and I can also pass some maybe function, and it will be count, for example, count speed, and it will be a function which returns always true. So the object can store practically every data type inside, and if I print it, car, I have Ferrari, color red, function, number, so it's shown exactly, and it's very helpful in the development, in some storing some data in the database, because it can be stored as an object. Of course, I can make an array with objects and store a lot of them, but for example, if I want to describe properly some item in the code, I can use objects and make it adding these features inside. So imagine when there is no object, and it would be super hard to achieve some of them. And how to access some props inside. I can do it like passing the property, and for example car dot name returns the value of name. Car dot color returns color. Car dot max speed returns speed, and count speed returns a function. And what if I type something what is not existing here, for example places, undefined, it's not undefined, it's undefined, but if I type here also places, for example, for people can go inside, and it's like that. So it's the way of declaring the object. There is also another way which I will show you right now. Another way of declaring an object can be achieved like let, I will copy these properties, delete this, and let car is equal to new object, brackets, and inside I type every property which I want, and if I print it, I have the same, and I can achieve the same result. So there is a keyword new and object, and it makes a new object. The same works with arrays, but it will be shown in a minute. So that's how it works. When it comes to objects, there is another thing which is worth to mention, mainly accessing the each prop. I can do it also in the other way. So I have car and I want to print, for example, the color, and I can make it like in arrays, but instead of the place, the number of the position, I pass the keyword, and this keyword is color, and I have red. I can pass the keyword name, and it's working the same. So that's how you can also print a value, have an access to a value, a property in an object. The time has come to talk briefly about arrays. I will delete that, and we can go for arrays. So declaring arrays can be made like in the standard way. Let array is equal to empty square brackets, and here I can pass some properties, some items, like let's do apple, orange, peach, and I can make it in another way. For example, also use let array, but this time array2 is equal to new array, and pass arguments inside. Oh, sorry. Without curly brackets, and I will print it array2, and it's the same. So that's the way of declaring an array. I will delete the second one. And array stores items, so it's also a very fundamental thing. And in array I can store objects, strings, numbers, whatever I want. So it can be really helpful in processing some data from database, especially when there is a lot of them, and declaring, for example, let element 1 is equal to apple, element 2 to orange, and element 3. It can be really difficult if it comes to proceed multiple variables. So array is perfect, but what is more, I can pass there also objects, and I will make it with let object 1 is equal to, and for example I will go with name John, age 30, and we'll pass also ID 1. I will make 3 objects, increment ID, look, for example 40, James 20, and I can pass it to an array. Object 1, object 2, object 3 is the new array. I will print it. So I have the array of objects. It's really helpful. And how can I access the first element, second, third? I have to type brackets and pass the position. So an array starts with 0, that's the element number 0, that's an element number 1, and that's 2. Always starts with 0. There are a lot of memes in programming that programmers always count from 0, not 1 like normal person. So I can pass 2 and I have James, I can pass 1, I have Luke, and that's how basically it works. And it's an error, I can't pass anything, but identifier calls entire array. To discuss further arrays, I will go through the different props and methods. So what we can do with an array, I have an array like that, and for example I can make it adding a new element, and it will be made in different ways. So let me start with array.push method. I have an array dot push, and I will add object 4 and declare it here. Object 4 is equal to name, random name. Then after this I will console it log, and I have added another element. I can make it also like in this way, array and define the element here, and I will make a third element 0, 1, 2 and third, and the result is the same. I can skip some positions and for example make 7, and it looks like that. Maybe I will console table, and the index 7 is filled with this data, so I skipped that. And in some for loop iteration, the values for the indexes 3, 4, 5, 6 will be just undefined. We talked about adding some elements into an array, but we don't know still how to pass a prop feature in the object. So I have declared one object, name John, age 30, ID 1. I console table it, so there is an object, and I would like to pass, for example, the mail key, and it's made with object dot key, so I'm dot mail, so I'm accessing the key mail, and there assign it to the string John with Gmail, and then I will console table, and we have now also the mail. I can also make it with the second way, passing the string of keyword, and it's the same result. This is all for this episode of the tutorial. Follow the next movie for knowing more about array methods like .average, split, splicing, summary sorting, etc. So see you in the next episode.